Tell. I'm coming over. So sorry guys, it's a mess over here. Getting set up. There we go. Nice music. You check the chat to see if someone's already there. My channel. Alright, here I am in the chat. Eating some buttered bread. What's up? It's me. So classic Thomas and Factory music. How are you doing, everyone? Alright, I'm done eating. Now it's slurp time. Alright. If anyone there in the chat, it's the coldest bagel. Says, hey, what's up, P-Man? I'm doing good, Bagel Man. How are you? Ready to do some drawing. Been kind of rushing to get this started, so I'm a little bit late. It seems like a lot of social media were done when I started. Like Instagram wasn't working, WhatsApp wasn't working, Facebook wasn't working. Hopefully it's not the beginning of the end of the world. We got 10 shrunken heads over here. Heyo, what's up, man? What's up, heads? That's a lot of shrunken heads. Hope you're doing good. Coldest Bagel is about to start his own slurps. That's nice. And I'm about to start drawing in a couple minutes. Check something on my phone. Alright. Yeah, doing your own slurp is great. Alright, so you guys know how it goes. Start with some doodles. So what do you want me to draw? Have any ideas? I'm doing some lines, as you can see, being very artistic right now. I need to do an exercise that I'm sure has been used a lot. It's to try to draw a very long line without stopping, but without ever like crossing over a previous line. So we already got 2 suggestions, so I think that's gonna be it for the line, because let's be honest, it's not very interesting. So 10 shrunken heads asking for some Yetis in love. And Coldest Bagel is asking for a Venus fly trap. So yeah, that's the bug-eating plant, right? I think I see what it looks like. Alright, so let's erase this. And let's go for some Yetis in love. So basically, big monkeys. I'm starting to wonder, why am I always using this image format? So I should probably for my streams be using it like that. I mean, yeah, should probably keep it in basically a square anyway, so I can also post it on social media. But yeah, I think I'll do very soon a new prompts file that I will maybe adopt a more widescreen friendly format. So let's go. Yetis in love. Alright, Yetis. So basically some big white apes. I'm trying to think of a twist or something. Let's do a first Yeti. I think my main memory of them is from an old Tintin comic. So I'm going to do them like that. Oh yeah. So I hope it's going well for you guys. I hope the week is starting alright. If it's not, I hope it gets better. Or at least that you can go through it alive, which would be the least you could hope for, is to at least keep living another day. Hopefully a bit less grim than that for you and me. Attention can head saying, I love Tintin, Hergé for the win. Yeah, Hergé is the creator of Tintin. Long gone by now, but yeah, he was a very, very talented man, you know. Made so many great comics. He's kind of the French Walt Disney, kind of, or maybe like the French, I don't know. It's hard to compare directly, like he didn't create a media empire like an American creative like Disney would, but still, Tintin still made a lot of money and became very famous, you know. There are great albums. And he started so early, like the first, I'm not sure when the first Tintin album is, but it's like 1920s probably, you know. It's really the first, I love the first couple of albums, even though they are kind of problematic in a political way, but I really love the way he draws at that time. Like, he was a very naive guy, and the drawing is still very rough, but there's something very lovable about the way he tells stories, you know. Paperbag 218, what's up, says, I have one of his books, really love his art style and storytelling. Yeah, he's got very... He's not a guy trying to impress people with his drawing, and even relied on assistants quite a lot to complete them, especially toward the end. But his whole thing was about being very clear and readable, and it's still beautifully designed to this day, you know. It's like a very efficient drawing, very almost like graphic design sometimes. And yeah, really great guy. So I'm trying to figure out to do this. So, picturing something like, to remember that these are doodles, I have to do them kind of fast, not get lost in it. And like, in a while I'll talk to you guys about, I think I'll start working on my new comic project that I'm going to be posting pretty soon, you know. I've been mentioning it on stream for a while. And now I'll introduce you to it. But yeah, anyone who wants to read Tintin, like if you are Like it's very well known in France and I think in Europe. If you haven't and you find an album, I really recommend it. It's pretty good. Even Wing says and Quebec. Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty well known in Quebec as well. I mean, no, it's given that you guys are French speaking as well. I think it's it's even been adapted into movies. The latest one by Spielberg and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people are aware of it. Even as a kid, I remember it was already translated in more than 100 languages or something crazy like that. Colors Bagel says, wow, that's exciting. Yeah, I'm really thrilled about that project that I'm gonna start. It's not 100% ready to start actually drawing the comic because I still have a couple of panels that I have to storyboard. But it was starting to just feel a bit stale if I didn't start working, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start working on it. I want to stream myself working on it and just not show the dialogues that I use. Hopefully I can start, today I'm gonna try to start drawing the promotional image / book cover for it. And then starting, I think tomorrow or maybe Wednesday, I'll start actually publishing it and drawing it live, just hiding the dialogues. Shrunk and Head says, first saw Tintin in US as animated TV show in the late 90s. Yeah, I also saw it, it was when I recently saw a bit of it again, and it's relatively cheap animation by today's standards, but yeah, there was a whole bunch of TV shows based on it, on TV episodes, I mean, and they were quite good, very enjoyable as a kid at least. Right, you know what? I'm going to use an extremely lazy trick. Alright, this is how you do it, guys. Need to draw 2 characters, how about that? This is what's called a pro artist move, I'm just going to change a couple of tufts of hair, and there you have it. That skill level, exactly, Evil Wings. This is high skill level move. Obviously, I wouldn't do that for a finished product, especially for a well-paid commission or something like that. But to storyboard something, or maybe I'm doing now, just use it as a basis and change it up, it's actually really, really good, It saves so much time. Tension Can Head says, I love that shortcut. Yeah, a lot of those shortcuts are pretty nice, because when you see it, it feels kind of what? My whole life has been a lie. But then you realize that until you saw the artist do it, you didn't even realize he was doing this, Hopefully. If you start to realize that stuff are copy-pasted, it can feel cheap, unless it's kind of becomes part of the aesthetic, So yeah, I think maybe I'll change the nose and the smile a little bit, since people tend to look a lot at the face. Coldest Bagel says, I use the duplicate layer trick sometimes, then lower the opacity to use it as a sort of guideline to make sure I get the same proportions. Yeah, using guide layers can be really useful too. I often do that even with I do a rough sketch and then I lower the opacity and go over it on another layer, or stuff like that. Like, your goal, unless you're doing some kind of live drawing thing, your goal is not to to perform the drawing in an impressive way. Your goal is just to make the drawing any way you can so that it looks good. So you should have no shame about duplicating stuff, or whatever you need to get to where you want it. And if you start to pay attention to this, you can see it a lot. Like, I think some artists kind of abuse it, especially when it's like a comic and you can see that several times the same character, never, like, just slightly changed. If it's very obvious, it can be kind of grating. Once again, unless you kind of own it and make it part of your style, I mean, anything can work, Alright. So let's say they are on the top of a mountain like that. I think I know what to do next. Yeah, I think this should work pretty well. So yeah, a lot of cheap little tricks and just good ways. Like, as an artist, you will often feel like you don't have time to do all the stuff you want, so don't waste time on like drawing 10 times the same tree if it's gonna be something in the background like that, unless you want to, unless you feel it brings value to your art. But there's no such thing as cheating. You can't really cheat in art unless you like really just taking someone else's work and passing it as you want. Tension Can Head says, I was always impressed with newspaper, comic strips, and how every frame was a new drawing, even a complicated background, etc., instead of replicating. Yeah, you can tell, like, I think probably a lot of the time they would, as Coldest Bagel mentions, it's probably, they may have used, like, the first background as a guide and use like a light box or something to go over it to make sure that it stays okay. I think it can get pretty tedious, but if it's well done, like if you look at something like Calvin and Hobbes, he's very economical with his backgrounds, but yeah, you can see that he's like really trying to keep a very alive feel to it, and it's not just like meticulously tracing the same thing, and definitely not copy and pasting. I think Bill Watterson in particular would be really against that, So yeah, I think I'm gonna do them like that. I wanted to have some snow on it, Not as pretty as I wanted, but I think it gets the job done. Coldest Bagel says this looks so good just as black and white. I agree. I think like it works like that, Add a couple of little rocks like that. What was that? It is in love, yeah. Let's add the title as usual. Alright. This one looks pretty cute, right? Let me just take a couple of slurps and I'll do the Venus flytrap one. Hey, Alistair John saying cute. Tension Can Head says, looks very good, Pierre, you are the man. I gave you a shout out on my animation webcomic newsletter a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I think I remember that. Thank you very much for that. I think I checked it up. I don't know if I shared it or not. I liked it at least. Don't know if I commented, but I remember you. I see what you're talking about. And thank you, yeah. Every share, every stuff like that helps, every comment, whatever. Lgerran says looks great. Thank you, man. I think it looks nice, it could be like a little postcard or something like that. I was thinking at the beginning of having them, you could probably push it, like for instance, having them, I was thinking of them holding a single ice cream cone or maybe having like 3 ice cream balls, with the third one resting on both theirs, or something like that. Tension Can Head says, you're welcome, bruh. I will continue to support your work. Thank you as well, bruh. I think it's funny you spell it bra, B-R-A, and then you say you'll support me because that's what a bra does, A bra always supports. Or it's a bad bra. Making puns. Such fun. Next I'll do the Venus flytrap prompt. I think I have a good idea for it, and then I'll talk to you guys about my next project that is gonna start this week. Alright. Second one. The chat is liking the bra pun. I think, yeah, it's good teamwork, between Tension Can Head and I. Alright, I think I know what I want to do. For this one, I already have an idea in my head. The other one, I just started drawing the Yeti, without being sure of how it would work. Probably going to have to do a little sketch. Alistair John says, damn, that was a strong gulp of water. Oh yeah, I'm a very strong gulper, I just gulp and gulp like a motherfucker. They call me Big Gulp, Alright, so start with. Alright. It's funny because sometimes something really simple like a table, you realize that you actually have a lot of tiny decisions to do if you haven't done any research, on the kind of table and stuff like that, how it's built. Does it have several legs or just a center like that? Is it round? Is it square? All that stuff. Tension Can Head says, great chatting with you, man. Gotta head back to the day job. Cheers. Cheers to you. Thank you very much for being here and being part of the chat, for the share, for everything, and see you on the next stream. Bye. Right. No, I'm really liking these streams. It's funny because I'm not actually I'm not always a talkative person. I can definitely spend like a week by myself, But for work, it's to work on drawings. It's actually quite nice, I think it's not as demanding too as actually having people with me, So I can just draw, and I know you guys are interested in watching me draw and everything, so there's less pressure. It's great. It is great. By the way, I think I saw I don't know if you guys saw that I started posting some former streams, some previous streams on YouTube, so they're archived there. So I wanted to say I also would like to collect some of the highlights sometimes, but I think it's going to be a lot of work editing, so I don't know how often I could do it. Do like some highlight reels of funny or cool moments that happen on the stream. So if any of you guys use Twitch regularly and know how to, I think as followers you can probably like create little clips, and I definitely check them out. You know, I think if people create clips from my stream, I can see them. So if you do that, like if you like doing that kind of stuff, like be sure that I'll check it out and try to archive some of them, just so maybe I'll try to have like once in a while a highlight video of funny moments, because not everyone wants to like watch the whole stream, you know. Alistair John says it's fun watching you, Pierre. It's also really fun watching you, Alistair John, from a drone that I have that is always flying over your desk, over your house, you know. Alistair John says, I always forget to clip in any stream I watch. I'll try though. Yeah, no pressure, of course. Like, it's just, I wanted to say that I actually am interested in that, so I'll definitely check it out if someone does, but of course it's not obligatory. Regarding me watching him with drones, Alistair Jones says, concerning but very welcome. I'm glad to see that you are bad at setting boundaries, Alistair. It's great for my drone and me. I feel that back on the drawing, I feel that I've been... Okay, alright. I should stop with these table legs. Just it works like that. Let's not overdo it. Let's not spend too much time on it. Let's focus on what we need. I'm even using some like automatic smoothing and stuff, because my goal is to get close to what I need soon. Right, so that should work. Concerning but very welcome. I like this phrase. Alistair John says, concerning but very welcome is my motto. It's a good one. I could see it like on a medieval shield or something, you know. Or maybe tattooed on your arm, you know. Alright. Alright, sorry guys, I'm kind of gone quiet for a little bit. By the way, you know, I think I've talked on this channel a couple of times about the fact that I'm not sure whether or not to show my face. Like, I'm not going to do it yet, but I think I'm starting to see the way I could do it would be to like work a little bit on the lighting in my room, in my office, and then also wear like sunglasses or something like that, so I can kind of feel like I'm in character, you know, as the artist Pierre Mortel. So I can kind of feel like it's just not like, I don't know, to me it feels weird to be just the old me. I would like to be the artist you see in my comics, you know. I think it's slightly different, so it could be cooler. Alistair Jones says, as long as you're comfortable, we would love to see you. Yeah, I mean, like, same. I just feel like sometimes it's a bit too... I want to be you know, it would be almost like going to a concert, you know, you're not seeing the musician in their room practicing, you know, it's like they're in show mode and stuff and giving their best, and I think I need to find a kind of little costume I can use, so I'm thinking probably sunglasses and like maybe some custom shirt or whatever, some light, just some stuff to create some ambience would be really cool. But yeah, I think it's going to happen. Not this week probably. Coda's Bagel says, as long as you're slurping, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm definitely gonna slurp from time to time, you know. There will be some slurps. I'm a big beverage guy, you know. I used to smoke a lot, like I barely smoke anymore, but I used to. And what helped me kind of win off and taper off my smoking was that I just kept drinking my coffee and tried to stop smoking as well. So, and no, I don't always drink coffee. I try to avoid drinking too much caffeine, you know, in the evening and stuff. But I still like my little hot beverage break, you know. As you can see, this is a Venus flytrap in a restaurant. Of course, with a fly here. So, Lgerran says, it would be cool if you're in costume, but we'd still watch you if you weren't. Yeah, when I say costume, it's more like, you know, almost a mental thing, you know, like I wouldn't be wearing like a full disguise or whatever, just like, you know, having like a specific color shirt, or maybe having some shirts I've drawn some of my characters on, and having my hair done and wearing some sunglasses would be cool. Just something, so it's like, you know, the internet is all about image. And if I do manage to make like some kind of career, I just want to be sure that I like, you know, the pictures that anyone will find looking me up, you know. I don't want it to be like, I mean, it's pretty pretentious of me to say that because there's little chance that I'd be famous enough for someone to recognize me on the street. But I like the idea that if I don't wear the glasses and the shirt, like, people wouldn't recognize me, you know. Yeah, exactly, Lgerran, like a brand, like it's a. Because honestly, I think also if you stream a lot, you're bound to have a lot of moments where you look weird, you know. It only takes one person to kind of make some weird memes or whatever based on your face. And I want to have like healthy boundaries regarding that, you know. Just so being able to kind of have my own image, I think is good. Evil Wing says, one day you'll be that famous. Well, maybe I will. What I'd like to is to be that rich, you know? Like if I make the kind of money where people, like if I make rock star money, it would be not even that, honestly, like just make doctor money from drawing would be really awesome, you know? Let's say brain surgeon money, you know? That would be great. I'd rather have that than being very famous, I think. I'd love to have a little bit of fame, of course, but... Aurore Boreal says, great name by the way. Hello Pierre, sure you'll be famous as French baguette. I mean, I don't think I'd be able to dethrone the holy bread, you know. I wouldn't even want, actually. This is kind of blasphemous. It's kind of blasphemy for you to say that, you know. Don't disrespect the baguette. But yeah, I think I'd be probably as famous as some lesser known bread. Love to be as famous as some bread, you know. Maybe like cornbread or something like that would be enough. Famous as croissant. That's a bit too much as well. Evelwing says maybe as famous as brioche. I think that would work, yeah. Famous as brioche is like my max level of fame, you know. Alright, so here we go. You know what? Let me be sure to finish this completely. I think I kind of messed up the proportions. No, it should be okay. I feel like the table is a bit too high. You know what? I'm going to correct this right now. Feels more like it. If I could be as delicious as brioche, as tasteful as brioche, that would be great. Because brioche is the kind of stuff that makes you fat, you know. Brioche is exactly the kind of stuff that I just don't buy often because I know I'll just swallow it all, you know. And brioche is really good, you know. It's just basically a lot of butter and sugar and flour in a very soft, it's like eating a greasy cloud, you know. It's delicious and it's pretty bad for you. Brioche with like something like Nutella on it is so great. I fell in the trap of drawing the chair and now I have to draw the feet and everything. Whatever. You know, me doing these prompts is kind of turned into like a beneficial trap for me. Like, it's a trap because it's a trap. Because I always end up spending too much time on them, but at the same time, it's like sports, you know. I'm just doing more drawings like that than I used to, and I'm getting better at those, so I like that. Maybe add some black to help to read better. Some wine here. Right. Right. So, as you have noticed that I don't do any research. I didn't Google the Venus flytrap to check that it's actually the one I'm drawing or that it looks like that. I'm just doing it from my head, which is how any real artist does, you know. Real artists don't do research. Research is for losers. Never use reference, just make it up as you go along, you know. What, like books, read stuff, document yourself? Ha, don't make me laugh. That's for dweebs, you know. Like, honestly, I think you could show this to like a plant scientist, a flowerologist, a botanist maybe, and they'd be like, is that a scientific illustration? Because it's really incredibly accurate. And you'd be like, no, it's actually a cartoon that some guy drew. They'd be like, no way, he's so good. And you'd be like, yeah, he's really good. You should check him out. Go to his Instagram. And then they'd be like, oh, I love it. And they'd subscribe to me. And they'd send me a lot of money. I think that's how it would go. Anyways, all this work to get to the part where I write my punchline, so to speak. Should I actually add that as well? Yeah, alright, so this looks nice. Let's write down my great punchline. Oh my god. That's why I use a font nowadays. I'm too distracted trying to talk at the same time. Alright, I'm sure some of you have guessed the joke already. Waiter! There's food on my fly. Maybe he has short legs, even when I missed your comment. Actually, he does have those leaf legs. Coldest Bagel says, whoa, looks exactly like the real thing. Yeah, I know, because I'm a great artist. Lister John says, haha, nice. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for nice. I'm pretty happy about this one. I like that kind of classic cartoon humor, you know. This says something about society. The old switcheroo, you know. Usually don't like, normal people don't like flies on their food, but fly traps don't like food on their flies. That's a classic. That's how you know I'm a pro, you know. Can do the old switcheroo. Good caption. Thanks, Evil Winged. Alright, you guys, let me now move on to the next part of the stream. I'll talk to you about my new project. Let me just finish writing this. Alright. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about this one. It turned out pretty much how I saw it in my head, which is great. I think that's the part I'm getting better at these days. Like, I'm not necessarily that much better at, like, drawing. It's just that I can kind of picture it in my head before it's done. That came out so good, P-Man. Title of your sex tape. Sorry. Also, thanks. Thank you. I do think it came out so good. Or at least pretty good. Alright, so now let me talk to you guys about my new project. So it's pretty simple. Let me show you this. Actually, I'm thinking of changing the title, but I'll have your opinion soon. This is something I kind of drew just as a promo. This is... So the project is that I'm going to do a comic made of 16 strips. It's gonna be like a continuous story, you know. I want to do one comic per day for 16 days, around 16 days. Maybe I skip a couple days, you know, obviously. But yeah, the whole story is written up. It's all penciled in except a couple. I think I'm going to draw it on iPad. I wasn't sure. And so it's going to be an insecure fish story. So you guys may remember insecure fish as the fish that made the mixtape. If you can actually see him on the YouTube video Chill Beats to Sing /Float 2. That's on my channel, which is the music that you're hearing right now. So he's kind of like a DJ fish, you know. He likes making beats. So some comments already. Ah yes, this is sick, says Coldest Bagel. This is definitely sick, my man. It's only the beginning. Evil Wing says, initial art looks great and I like the concept. Alistair John says, I excited for this. So thanks guys, I'm really glad to have your support on this. I don't think this is going to be the final look. It's gonna be closer to the comics I usually post. Maybe a little more work on the textures. So it's gonna be a story with this guy and a frog, friend of him. And so I called it Flow State. But I'm not sure if I'm going to actually call it that or if I'm going to call it, the other title I had was just Go with the Flow. I don't know if you guys prefer one or the other. I think Flow State is like simpler, but it's maybe also makes it sound like you know, a self-help book or something like that that's actually instructing you how to get to the flow state. So I don't know if you guys have any ideas around this. Do you like better flow state or with the flow? Mr. John says I like the title. So the other title would be With the Flow. Flow state does have a nice ring to it. So to start with this, like, please drop anything if you have questions about it or title ideas or opinions on the two titles I suggested. Please ask me and I'll answer anything. And I start like trying to draw a new cover, kind of like this one. Coldest Bagel saying I like the title, so it's starting to see a consensus emerge, but I'm interested in everyone's opinion. And I'm going to start drawing another cover, you know. Because I want one that's, so I don't know, maybe I'll just use, I could add the frog, which is the other character that's going to be in it. But I could otherwise just redraw this. Alistair John says, so it's a one-shot story, right? Yeah, it's going to be a one-shot story. It's basically a day in the life of our guy, Insecure Fish. And the idea is that I want to start making these slightly longer stories that I can have printed in a small booklet, you know, and sell on my shop, and also start building up my universe, you know. And the idea is that I can take any 2 or 3 characters I like and do some small stories around them, and little by little it's going to reveal the universe they live in, you know, and you can see it from different point of views and stuff like that. Because I like making strips, but I want them to be part of a whole, you know. So I want to start having also longer stories like that. And basically the idea is if I keep doing this, I'm going to be better at writing longer stories, and I can actually draw like books, you know, like 40-page story, 50-page stories, stuff like that. I want to start a little bit lighter for now. So yeah, I think I'm going to just basically redraw this. So yeah, it is a one-shot 16-page story. And it's So and it's going to be the day of on the life for our DJ Insecure Fish, who lives in the bottom of Sad City River. Coldest Bagel says, sounds like such a great idea. Well, I'm glad you're excited for it. I've actually written it. It's already been a couple months since I've started working on it. I wrote it, I think, during like the end of July, I think is when I wrote it for vacation. Basically, I wrote it in July and I was waiting to have some time to... I have a notebook with like almost the whole story penciled in. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it digitally or on paper, you know. And I think I'm going to scan the pencil versions and finish it digitally, because it's just way less work, you know, and I think it's going to look better, it's going to tie in better to the aesthetic of my strips. And yeah, so because if you followed me for a while, you've noticed that now I'm trying to really adopt, like, basically I was kind of annoyed by how different posts look too different when you get to my like Instagram page. It didn't feel unified, and since I didn't want to just do one type of stuff, the solution I found is that I'm always using the same basic panels, you know. So every time I post a comic or illustration, most, like 90% of the time I try to use the same panel size and basically the same panels for the same format, you know, so it gives like, it becomes part of my aesthetic, you know. It's like a little constraint that helps tie everything together. And I think the style that I'm developing with the iPad is also going to be part of it. I don't want to do only this style, because I like drawing on paper as well, but still, like, by default, when I do comic stories like that, it's going to be on iPad, unless I have a good reason not to. So I'm not actually liking how this is coming out. I'm going to just do the simple thing. Right. So yeah, I'm going to start by drawing what will be the cover for this. Like, ideally, if all goes well, I would want I want to print the story in color as a small zine, you know. Budget permitting, otherwise I might print it in black and white, you know. Maybe, you know, like print like 50 or 30 of them and sell them as a kind of collector first underground edition, you know. More like underwater, you know. I mean, yeah, sorry about talking about commercial stuff, but I'm still trying to find a way I could be able to build a career without kind of selling out, you know, and it's not easy. But I think it's a great path. I'm on a great path right now, and I have a great audience. Thank you guys. You guys are the real stars. Alright, so here it is. We have the panel, flow state, the pencil. So he's going left, whereas the reading order would be left to right, and he's going right to left, the fish. But I think it's kind of fitting, because it's a story where he's kind of struggling and stuck, trying to find his way, so and that's why the other title would be With the Flow. And so I think it's interesting to have him against the flow, you know. So, as you've heard me say a lot of times, it's not always my goal to really impress with the art. The art is just a tool to tell a story. What are you saying? You like Alistair John? Are you saying you like the idea that the character is going like the wrong way, kind of against the flow? That's why I was thinking that also there's a line in the story, there's a dialogue that references going with the flow, so I was thinking that maybe it could be a more interesting title. Like flow state is like a fun pun, you know, like kind of because it's the flow of the river. But I'm thinking that maybe with the flow could be maybe more accurate, you know, like more relevant to the actual themes. Lister John says relatable icon. Yeah, I think Insecure Fish is like a lot of people can relate to him because he's like, you know, he's an artist, but he's mainly like just a dude doing his thing. He's not like, you know, he's not a complete mess, but he's just like kind of just some guy who's just trying to figure his life out, you know. And he's not always making the right decisions, and I don't know, yeah, he's definitely, I think, a relatable character compared to something like the Archduck, you know, the quackening duck. I think he's much more relatable. So you know what? I think I even for the final version, since I'm not going to use this pencil texture, I think I'll use some. Maybe I'll do a new aquarelle. Trying to use French word with an English accent. Maybe I'll use a new watercolor texture and like make a custom one to have that kind of gradient that I have in the pencil drawing from dark to bright, you know. I think I'll definitely try and do that. I'm still kind of torn on whether I'm going to do, like, I'm actually interested on what you guys think on this as well. Do I do like on most of my comics on Instagram and stuff, I have I use a font, you know. I don't do my own handwriting. But I think for this story, I'm not sure. Like, I kind of like the aesthetic of the font I use, but yeah, I still haven't decided. Like, some parts I'll have to do by hand anyway, but most of the dialogue could be either way. I'm not sure. Do you guys have a preference one way or the other? I think the font can be a little less personal sometimes, but it also ties into a digital aesthetic that's kind of cool. And I think my handwriting can be really cool sometimes, but also it's not always. Like on bad days it just looks really bad, you know, and it takes me a lot of time. So Alistair Jones is saying Comic Sans. Haha. Well, I mean the font I use in my comics is actually not Comic Sans, but it's like the iPad equivalent, I guess. So, but you know, I know Comic Sans is kind of a meme at this point, but you know, it does make sense to use it for comics, you know. But the one I use is called Chalk Duster, and it's really like the Apple equivalent, I think, to Comic Sans. Coldest Bagel says, I think handwriting is awesome. It's just hard for me to execute. Some artists are so good at it. Yeah, handwriting is like, I think it's like a character thing. Like some people, if you're like a patient person that enjoys, taking your time to do something neat, then you probably have a good handwriting most of the time, and you can get a good result. But if you're more impulsive in your creation, more impatient, it's hard to have the consistency and go the right pace to be able to build up your handwriting. Like, honestly, I really like my handwriting sometimes, but other time it's just like, oh, it's really hard. What I think is maybe I'll compose my texts with font and then just go over it, so I have kind of a mix. Yeah. Yeah, oh, time to put on some more music. I think we're reaching 1 hour stream. I'm hoping to make it to 2. I'll probably take a short break soon. Where my music at? Oh, oh. Really like this song. I like this character of Insecure Fish. For now, it's just been used in a couple of strips around the mixtape. It just actually is like the first strip I did when I switched my art style. And like the comic format I used on Instagram, like on social media and everything. I started by switching with Insecure Fish, and I did the mixtape thing and everything. And I think I'm going to use him frequently. Like, he's a good character to talk. I think he's kind of like me in a lot of respects, and he's a good character to talk about like music, about creativity, like friendship, that kind of themes. This is basically the main themes in my comic, in this story. So I'm going to do both versions so you guys can see. Honestly, I may still go like pick With the Flow as the title, because it ties in a little more to the story. But I'm still like really thinking it over, since you guys like also flow state a little bit more. I don't know if it's me being biased or just because you guys don't. Maybe you guys would like With the Flow more if you'd read the story and see how it kind of ties into the dialogue there. But yeah, I think going with the flow is like, and flow state in general, it's kind of like an important thing if you're trying to do art regularly. You can't afford to just wait for inspiration. You have to be able to find ways to put yourself in a, like, obviously you sometimes have to just force yourself to produce something, but if you want it to be good, it's important for you to really learn, how to do this, basically. How to get into a flow state, how to accept what's going on with your life and whatever. So I may go with the flow, but I still will correct some stuff, like this. The spacing on these letters is not great. This will already be a bit better. Alright, let's add a little bit of shadow slash ground texture. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing this with you guys. Hopefully I'll have the first the first strip ready by Wednesday. No, another stuff that's not always easy to do is actually doing that kind of little ground texture like I'm doing right now, little strokes like that. To have a good impact, you have to avoid just repeating the same one or just having grouping of similar stuff. You have some variation, but not too much, because you don't want it to be, it still has to read like something. And it's really hard actually to, it's like something you kind of, I should actually practice more, because I use this a lot, but I don't feel like I have a great handle on it. But you know, I'm always trying to go with the flow, but sometimes you have to make your own flow. Wow, Pierre, that's so deep. Can I retweet that? Yes, you can retweet that. Am I talking to myself? Absolutely. Absolutely. Am I crazy? Probably. Am I wanted by the police? Most definitely. Did I do it? Not likely. Maybe I did do it and forgot. Yes, that's probably what happened. Am I going to die in a shootout with the police? Yes. Alright. Thank you for staying with me so far. I feel like I can still position it a little bit better. Like maybe the whole thing. The E is kind of close to the border. Maybe I could also separate him a little bit more. Yeah, maybe I think I need to do that actually, especially for the final version where I won't have the coming soon and whatever. It's Alright. Goddess Bagel says, it's cool watching you do something like this from start to finish. Or start to fish. Hey, nice. Nice accidental pun. Yeah, I really wanted, like, there's some stuff I work on, you know, like the Warhammer comics and stuff like that, or some commissions that I can't stream because they are, like, they're not mine to show to the public. But I was thinking that I need to start doing as much as I can on stream, you know, so you guys can be invested in it. I can use little tricks like not showing the dialogue, you know, so it still remains an element of surprise. So yeah, this is actually I wanted to start drawing the first page on this stream, but then it was time to stream and I hadn't finished. I want to have the whole pencil face done, you know, and I still have a couple of final pages that I need to finish and then review the whole thing, you know. Evilwing says, I get it. What do you get, Evilwing? Do you mean like showing what I can show? Sorry, I think sometimes there's a little delay between when I see the chat and what I've said, so I'm not sure what people are responding to. Most of the time it's fine, but I think I missed this one. Alright. Oh, yeah, the start to fish. Watch it from start to fish. Exactly. It's a great joke. Alright, you can see I'm often just correcting very slight stuff, very small things. I think sometimes it's just, I'm not sure if it's useful or not, but sometimes you, for a drawing like that, it needs to be just really simple. So if it's really simple, maybe very tiny details can affect it, you know. But I think it works like that. I still want to thicken some of the font lines. And some of them are too wobbly as well. There are some other characters that will be involved in this story. There will be a frog, which will be the other main character. And as a little bonus for you guys watching the stream right now, I'll tell you something about this frog, is that it's actually the frog that was part of the Halloween comics I did last year, you know. There was like a frog that was mad at a witch. It's that frog. And there will also be like some other appearances, really slight appearances. But mostly that's it. That's fish and frog, you know. Alright. Alistair Jones says Pierre Mortel Universe. Well, yeah, man, it's called the Sad City. That's the whole idea of my comics, is that they are happening in the universe of Sad City, like most of them, you know. Obviously, like sometimes I just do a comic to do a comic, but if I can, they're happening to characters that actually exist and live in this weird surreal city, you know. So yeah, one day it will be the Sad City cinematic universe. Something like that. Okay, so guys, let me go make another beverage. Take a very short break of like 3-4 minutes and I'll be back. I don't think with my iPad I can really do much unless I play like a video on loop or something. Evil Wing is leaving. Should get back to work. It's been fun. Yeah, thank you, Evil Wing. Guys, don't go anywhere. I'll be back real soon. I'll turn up the music a little bit. If you want to like pee or something, now's the time. And yeah, I'll be back very soon. Guess who's back? It's me, guys. You know, remember Pierre Mortel? I draw comics. Yeah, it's me and I'm back to Slurp. Hey, Alistair John, glad to see you're still there. So, if you guys like while I work on another lettering, I suggest that if you guys have any characters you'd like me to make stories about with, yeah, let me know in the chat, you know. If because since I want to keep making stories like that, I need to know what characters are fan favorites, what kind of stuff you guys would want to see, you know. Or not, you know, so I'm just trying to find a topic that we can talk about, you know. We can talk about anything. I mean, you can type about anything. Alistair John says, I'll DM you whenever I think of something insane. Yeah, sure, thanks. I mean, even if it's not insane, you can still DM me, you know. But obviously, I accept insane DMs. And I screenshot them and post them to my story. In a way, I'm exploiting my viewers for that, you know. But sometimes I just answer to DMs without screenshotting them. I like the idea that it can also just be a nice moment talking, you know. So, even just Flow could be a good title, by the way. It could be Flow in big, but the whole title is With the Flow. Is this the right way? I don't think so. Can I do it like, just check. Sometimes you just need to sketch something really uglily. Is that a word? Uglily. Just to see how it works. Because I don't want to have with the same size, I think, as Flow. So it doesn't fill the same space as Flow State. So I have to compose it differently, you know. Something like that. I think I almost need to have it with very wide letters like that. Something like this, I think, works. And I even need to balance it a little more. Oh. Right, so there's something that's actually on the wrong layer. So let me restitute it to the original fish layer. Alright, so I think I could move the fish a little bit lower for this one. Otherwise it just kind of mushed together in the middle and I think it needs some space. the floor. Alright, I think this is a good placement. Alright, so I think this is it. Let me now do the clean version. Auto-lettering. I think I'll use a little bit of streamlining. I'm feeling a bit shaky. So the chat is kind of quiet, and I'm kind of quiet as well. I think it's time we switch to my French ASMR voice, ASMR. I wonder if maybe I should use this voice all the time. I think most people would appreciate it more because it's kind of cool, but it also depends on how I'm feeling, like if I'm feeling kind of chill, relax, and a bit low energy, it's a great voice to use. It's way less tiring than trying to keep my energy up. Otherwise I start sounding like a weird robot, or just someone who's not having fun. Alistair John says, "Hey, I'm here. Just checking in on another stream, then back here." How dare you check on another stream, John? How dare you? Like, I can't believe you'd do that to me. But no, man, it's cool. It's cool, you can, whatever. I appreciate it. Check as many streams as you like. Coldest Bagel says, "I'm drawing a comic, watching and listening." That's great, man. Like, it's like a comic drawing chain, And I appreciate everyone who's here. I'm just saying, like, I feel like the night has fallen also where I'm at, and we are reaching kind of a quiet night vibe, Alistair John saying, "I like your voice regardless. You're the one I'm listening." Well, that's cool. I'm glad that you're listening to me. Are you checking out maybe someone playing a video game or something like that? I need to get into Twitch more, but honestly, sometimes I find that I really don't have time to consume visual content since I need my eyes to watch stuff I'm drawing or read stuff I'm writing, so usually I'm kind of burnt out on watching stuff by the end of the day, I feel like watching someone you appreciate play some cool video games seems like a great way to spend some time. I might stream some video games at some point, I mean, probably I'll keep just streaming some art because that's what I really like to do, but if I need a break, maybe I did start playing Undertale, but I've only played the beginning, so maybe I could do an Undertale stream at some point, Alistair John saying, "I'm currently addicted to music on Twitch. So many great musicians here." Oh yeah, I'm sure it must be kind of cool because you get some live music. That's nice. Alistair John saying, "You can have community plays too if you want. Is this like we all play a multiplayer game together? Is this that or something else?" I haven't heard of community plays before. Okay, so you can see what I was saying about handwriting, it's some days it's not that great. Like this flow is not looking that good, I think. I have to kind of breathe. Should I think the O is kind of messed up. Maybe I'm speaking a bit too low. Maybe I should kind of speak a bit more loudly. A community place could be fun as well. I have to find a balance between like what I like about streaming is both the community, like doing prompts, talking with you guys, making jokes is something I really like. I also like the fact that I can integrate it into some time I'm already working on a project I have, So this is very nice. So Alistair John is saying, yeah, sometimes you can play Jackbox or Apex or something you can play with your community. But of course playing solo is good too. I need to get into that. I think it would be fun playing with the community sometime. I'll see, because it's hard to take time away from drawing, but yeah, playing some games could be fun, I'd like to play some maybe small indie games, Alright. Alistair John is saying, hey, lost connection for a bit. Sorry man. I didn't miss much. I was just saying that it's cool to play games. I just don't know if I just don't know when I'll be able, or more like I'll be ready to like take some time off of drawing and play video games, because I do have a lot of projects I want to do, so it's great when I can combine streaming with like advancing some new projects. Little slurp for the boys. So yeah, so we are like just doing this is taking me more time than I'd assumed, but it's cool, You got to spend time to make time. Is that what they say? So many future plans. I love it, says Alistair John. Oh yeah, for a long time when I was younger, I kind of felt really depressed by the fact that I had so many stuff I wanted to do and I didn't get stuff done, And now I'm like, alright, so since I know that I'm gonna die someday, as we all are, I'm assuming no one turns into like a robot overlord, then no, I'm gonna just try to do stuff, and don't get overwhelmed by all the stuff you haven't done, just focus on doing the one that's in front of you, And if you're not doing anything and enjoying it, it's cool. But if you're not doing anything and feeling kind of bad, just start doing something. Just do a little thing, a little project. Just do a doodle, just do a strip, just do a page, just do a 4-page story, whatever. And, I find that it really snowballs, like getting stuff done. I've read somewhere as like a muscle, you have to train it. You start with getting tiny stuff done consistently, and then you can get more and more ambitious stuff done, Pierre is forever. Yeah, absolutely, John. That's right. I will be forever. I'm going to live my life in a way that it can be seamlessly looped back to the beginning, you know. And my life would be like a GIF playing back again and again and again and again and again. Starting to say weird stuff. We still have about 20 minutes on the stream. Deathloop, exactly. Deathloop is actually a kind of a cool band name, you know. There's something unbalanced about my title, and I feel it needs to be more balanced than that. Or unbalanced in a prettier way, at least. It's like a graphic design problem. It's actually, I think, way harder to compose like a 4-letter title like that than it is to compose a longer title, you know. Because with few letters, like every little thing you change impacts the whole feel of the thing, you know. For instance, I think that this line is just not thick enough when I look at it in small, like people will see it on the phone. It's just I'm going to have to go over it again. Alistair Jones says, titles are hard for me. Yeah, titles are not easy, you know. But, once again, I think it's rarely much things are not easy for people, especially when you do it the first time, you know. If you do 100 titles, they're gonna be significantly better. You just have to accept the time you have to spend on it. Also, you can accept that you don't really like your titles, and that's fine, you know. Do a good effort and then move on. And maybe it won't be that important that it's good. Like a punk band where the singer is not technically great, but the songs have some heart. So it's not that important, you know. Or maybe you'll realize that after 100 shitty titles, you've actually gotten quite good, you know. There's no need to be a complete perfectionist. Thanks for the advice, Alistair John. Well, I'm glad if it helps, you know. It's just stuff I think about a lot because I'm kind of going through them myself, you know. So it's not like some advice that's coming from a wise old guy in the mountain. It's just some guy stuck in the mud with you, you know. And saying, you know, if I add some tape at the end of my boots, it prevents the mud from getting in. And, you know, it's just more like some tricks that I've discovered or some things I've been thinking about more than like a master giving advice, you know. I need to work on my voices. That stuck in the mud guy's voice wasn't great. You know, if I tape over my boots, I don't get mud in them. I don't think I should practice sketch comedy and drawing at the same time. Colors Bagel says, Piman, did you say Instagram is down? I'm having trouble loading my comic up on it. Well, it was down, you know, a couple of hours ago when I started the stream. Like, my girlfriend couldn't access it, or WhatsApp or Facebook, and me neither, so maybe it still is. I think Twitter was still up, and I was seeing some discussion, some chat groups kind of lighting up about this, so I'm kind of surprised it's still down, seems to be like a serious problem then. Alright, I think this is better. Maybe I went a little bit overboard on the lines. I'm hoping it's not. Can you imagine like some giant server farm just blew up and now social media is done forever? Can you imagine? I would be so boned. Alistair Jones says, Pierre, you have a girlfriend, heartbroken, unfollow blogs. No, wait, baby, I don't mean that. It's just, I can't leave her right now, but we're definitely going to be a thing, we'll run away together. John, don't leave. Alright, so... Tiny adjustments. I could focus on trying to kind of create a line that goes like that. So if I really want to do that, I need to, I think, adjust the W a little bit more. I think it's unbalanced because this part should be a bit longer like that. I mean, when I said girlfriend, I was talking about the severed head of a hitchhiker I have in the fridge, It's like because I'm a serial killer. Funny joke. Yeah, guys, I'm a bit low energy right now. When I said girlfriend, I was talking about the old puppet I bought at a flea market and I talk to when I feel lonely. Alright. Well, I think I have to kind of accept this flow. How am I spending? This is the danger with working digitally, because the previous lettering was based on the one I did on paper, so I just kind of accepted it as it was with its imperfections, and now that I'm able to rework it endlessly on iPad, I'm just spending so much time. Could have just redrawn 3 or 4 different versions by that time, and maybe it would have been better than just constantly rework tiny details. But I'm hoping that my decisions are making sense. I'm going to end up with a good title. So, coldest bagel, I'm assuming Instagram is still down since it's kind of worrying how much we are depending on social media, Right, I think this works. so maybe I should still slightly modify this. What a beautiful girlfriend. Yeah, absolutely, Lgerran. Codus Bagel said, I thought it was a frog stuffed animal. Oh, yeah, no, it's not Kermit. Codus Bagel says, it looks good, P-Man. Thanks. And Lgerran saying, right, social media going down especially during the pandemic would suck. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, honestly, like, without social media, like, I don't really have a career, you know. Even the comics I do for Warhammer, for instance, it's just to be specifically done to be posted on the internet, you know. So I would have to completely reconvert. Anyway, you know that's what life is, you know. You change a lot, philosophical stuff. But yeah, I'm really hoping it's not the case because it would be a huge mess. Alright, I'm getting pretty low on battery, yeah, on a low charge. I spent like half an hour just writing 4 letters. Right, let me just finish this title.